With every word you hear, you begin to relax and slowly drift into the magical world of sleep. I am your sleep nomad, and tonight I'll take you on an unforgettable journey across the boundless steppes of Mongolia. In this special story, we'll uncover the secrets of Khökh Lake, nestled beneath the Altai Mountains. We'll hear the call of the sky spirit Tengri and the songs of horses running free under the stars, with the sorrowful notes of the morinkur, the whispering winds, and the distant howls of wolves in the dark. Settle into your bed. Let your breath become as light as an eagle's feather floating over the steppe. Each tale will guide you closer to peace, closer to sleep, and gently toward the dreamlands. So now, let us step into the spell of Khökh Lake. Take a deep breath and gently let it go. Close your eyes. Let your thoughts drift like clouds across an open sky. I'm taking you now to the boundless steppes of Mongolia, to an ancient land, bathed in the silvery glow of moonlight, wrapped gently in the arms of night. Here, nestled between distant hills and vast grasslands, Khökh Lake rests in stillness. Its waters so calm mirror the endless sky above, a sky speckled with countless stars, each one a story, each one a quiet watcher of the world below, still, vast, and filled with hidden memories. The lake breathes softly under the moon. The nomadic herders, sitting by their fires, often whisper to each other, their voices hushed beneath the heavens. This lake was born of Tengri's tears. Tengri, the sky spirit, the silent guardian of wind and water, the eternal witness of all things. But tonight, the wind speaks a different tongue. It carries a melody, faint and strange, a sound not of this world, a breath from the past, a song that feels like remembering something forgotten. The grasses of the steppe respond first, swaying gently like dancers in a dream, as if an unseen hand brushes across the earth. The manes of the horses ripple, their ears tilt toward the sound, and the silence deepens, with a rhythm just beginning to rise. From one of the oldest jurs in the village, a soft flicker of amber light appears. It pulses, like a heartbeat in the dark. Altan, the village shaman, stirs from his sleep, his face deeply lined, tells stories no book could ever hold. They are stories of wind, of flame, of watching, waiting, listening. He rises slowly, reaches for his drum, an heirloom passed through generations. The moonlight rests gently on the taut skin of the drum, and then the first beat, thum. The earth listens. The stars shift ever so slightly. A second beat, then a third, each one sending ripples through the land, as if time itself has begun to stir. Khökh Lake trembles. A shimmer of blue light traces its shore, flickering like sacred fireflies in the dark. Altan kneels, presses his palms to the cool soil, and whispers to the night, "Tengri, is it you?" And then, a cry, distant, echoing through the hills to the north, then from the east, and again from the far west. Wolves, their howls rise one after another, as if answering a call older than memory. A circle begins to form, not of stone or flame, but of sound and presence and spirit, a sacred ring of voices lost and found. Altan's eyes fill with knowing. He has waited for this night, perhaps all his life. He stands, lifts his drum again, and this time the rhythm changes, deeper, slower, a heartbeat carved from the soul of the land itself. Though the village still sleeps, dreams begin to stir. Children sigh softly in their slumber. Elders murmur ancient words without waking. The night feels awake. Above, the sky remains clear, and the stars blink slowly, as if watching with quiet anticipation. The lake holds something sacred, something old, something waiting. Altan leans forward and speaks again, voice like wind. We haven't forgotten. We remember you, Tengri. The wind carries his words like threads of smoke, drifting beyond the hills, over the grasslands, and deep into the heart of the lake. This is only the beginning, but no one yet knows what has truly begun. Now, take another breath in and gently release. Feel the hush by the lakeside, the quiet rhythm of the wind. If your eyes are closed, you might see the shimmer of that soft blue glow. You might hear the distant howl of a lone wolf, or perhaps a whisper from the sky above. Tonight, you are part of this story too, right at the center of dream and of sleep. Breathe in slowly. Let the cool air settle in your chest. Breathe out gently and feel yourself soften a little more with every breath. You are still beneath the moonlight of Khökh Lake, still wrapped in the hush of the steppes. But something has changed since the wind first awakened. Something unseen has been set in motion. Altan, the elder shaman, continued to play his drum, its beat now slow and steady, like the pulse of the land itself. Dum, dum, dum. A rhythm as old as the mountains, a rhythm known by stone and sky. The sound echoed through the open steppe, reaching the distant hills where wolves had howled just moments before. But now, the howling had stopped. Even the horses had gone still. Silence fell, deep and complete, as though the earth itself was listening, not with ears, but with memory. Then, a soft gasp rippled through the gathered villagers. One by one, they had emerged from their jers, drawn by the call of the drum, and the feeling that something sacred was unfolding. Men and women stood barefoot on the dewy grass. Children clung to their mothers' robes, their eyes wide with awe. Elders whispered silent prayers as they gathered near the lake's shimmering edge. From the heart of Khökh Lake, something began to rise. First a flicker of gold, then a burst of light, so soft, so pure. From the center of the water emerged a golden eagle, enormous and glowing, its wings unfolding with the grace of the heavens. Each feather shimmered like starlight. Each movement stirred the air itself. It hovered just above the water, suspended, majestic, ancient, and it stared straight into Altan's eyes. Time stood still. Even the wind held its breath. Then, one feather, glowing and golden, loosened from the eagle's wing and floated down, spinning slowly through the air, drifting, until it touched the lake's surface. As it made contact, the water beneath it burst into a blue flame. Not hot, but bright and alive, casting strange, dancing light across the villagers' faces. Gasps turned into murmurs. Some fell to their knees. Others wept softly, their hands clasped over their hearts. Young Batu, the shepherd boy, whispered aloud, "Is that the spirit of our ancestors?" Altan stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "No, child, it is Tengri, and he is calling to us." He looked around at the gathered villagers. His voice carried over the hushed crowd, strong, yet full of sorrow. "The land is ailing. The spirits are forgotten. We have not honored the stones. The Ovu shrines are broken, and the wind grows restless." He pointed to the blue flame, still flickering on the lake. This is not a warning. It is a gift. We have a chance to heal, to remember, to return. The eagle let out a low cry, a sound that echoed deep in the hearts of all who heard it. It was not just a call. It was a memory of something the people had once known and nearly forgotten. Then, with one powerful beat of its wings, it ascended, spiraling upward into the sky. As it rose, a faint rainbow trail followed in its wake, a path that faded slowly, until the eagle disappeared into the stars. Left behind was the blue flame, still burning gently on the lake, like a promise. The villagers stood in silence, and then, as one, they turned to the eastern slope, to the old shrine site, long abandoned, but never forgotten. Without needing a word, they began to move, gathering stones, wood, and cloth. Each hand held purpose. Each step carried meaning. The night had not ended. It had only just begun. All through the dark hours they built. They rebuilt the ovu stone by stone. Each stone was placed with a whispered apology, a wish, a hope, a memory of the ancestors. Old women tied khökh, sacred silk scarves, around the stones. Men offered milk and strands of horsehair. Children offered songs. Even the wind seemed to quiet, to listen. By dawn, the ovu stood tall again, a new heart for the village, a beacon between earth and sky. The blue flame had faded, but in its place, the lake now shimmered with a calm, deep and knowing. And in that hush, Altan closed his eyes. He placed his hand over his heart and said softly, "Thank you, Tengri. We will remember. Now, let your breath become softer, as if you too are standing at the edge of that lake, watching the stars fade into dawn, and feel yourself drawn closer to the peace of the steppe, to the whisper of the stones, to the soft hush of a healed sky, because the story is not yet finished, and the dreams have only just begun." The velvet of night had quietly settled over the foothills of the Altai Mountains. A hush fell across the land, as if even the wind dared not disturb the sacred quiet. Stars blinked gently above, one by one, their shimmering reflections scattered across the still surface of Khökh Lake. And in the center of the water, a soft blue glow still danced in silence, the last echo of the lake's eternal spell. The villagers gathered by the lakeside under the guidance of Altan the shaman. It was the second night of the ritual, a night not of words, but of meaning, a night for cleansing, a night for memory, and most of all, a night for wishes. A great fire was lit. Its flames rose like hands reaching for the heavens, flickering and swirling as if in dialogue with the stars. Sparks burst upward with each gust of wind, joining the night sky like wandering fireflies dancing among the constellations. An elderly musician sat upon a smooth stone near the water's edge, cradling his morin khökh, the horsehead fiddle of his ancestors. His fingers, wrinkled and wise, trembled slightly as they touched the strings, and with the very first note, the entire village fell silent. Each melody spilled into the air like a forgotten story. They carried the sound of galloping hooves, the wild freedom of the open steppe, the passing of wind and time, and the soft whispers of ancient prayers spoken once more through sound. The village youth stepped forward, each one holding a khökh, a prayer scarf woven in sacred colors, sky blue, earth brown, fire red, and a deep green mirroring the heart of the lake itself. With solemn reverence, they approached the sacred ovu, a stone mound built from offerings, dreams, and remembrance. One by one, They tied their khökh to its weathered stones. Each knot sealed a secret, a longing, a gratitude, and a hope. From the quiet of the night, voices emerged. Let the drought end. May our soil breathe once again. Let our horses run free. And one, so quiet it could have been the wind. May our dreams not be forgotten. Batu stepped forward. His khökh, a soft blue, fluttered in his hands. He knelt before the ovu, his heart heavy with feeling. As he tied his prayer to the stones, a strange sensation rippled through him. A tremor beneath his knees, a vibration deep in the earth, as if the mountain itself had a heartbeat. He froze, and then the top stones of the ovu began to shift. The villagers gasped, their breath caught in violet silence. From within the sacred mound a hand emerged, not of flesh, but of glowing smoke and woven light. It shimmered like mist catching moonlight, and in its ethereal grasp was a single sprig of dried grass. The hand reached toward Batu and gently laid the offering into his palm, so delicate and yet somehow familiar, as if it had come from the very heart of the steppe. Altan stepped forward, his voice a reverent hush. "This is the seed of our ancestors," he said. "It will heal the land and remember who we are." That night, no one returned to their jur. Around the ovu, music rose again. The fire crackled with warmth and purpose. Women began to dance, their movements like flowing river water. Children, overcome with sleep, curled beside the flames, dreaming with open hearts. Elders sat in quiet rows, whispering prayers older than words. And when the sky softened to the pale blue of dawn, something extraordinary happened. From the cracked soil near the ovu, green shoots emerged, tiny, tender, and impossibly alive. Life had answered the prayers. A bird chirped sweetly in the morning hush. Far in the distance a wolf howled, not in hunger, but in honor. And the lake, Khökh Lake, glimmered with a sudden, radiant pulse. For a fleeting moment, it almost seemed to smile. Altan knelt by the fire, his hands lifted in gratitude. "This is Tengri's blessing," he whispered. "The spirits have been remembered, and the earth has not forgotten." The villagers joined hands, forming a great circle around the ovu. Their palms touched, their hearts beat in rhythm, and in the silence between breaths, they knew, we are not alone anymore. But even as the sun stretched higher in the sky, and the final embers of the fire dimmed, the call of the spirits had not yet finished its song. That night, Altan would lift his drum once more, not to awaken, not to speak, but to guide them inward, into the land of dreams, and somewhere between the stars and the steppes, where sky and soul meet, a golden eagle circled in silence, waiting, watching, for the journey had only just begun. The wind falls silent, time bends, and dreams bloom in the hoofprints of horses. When Batu closed his eyes, he could still feel the warmth of the fire on his skin. The rhythm of Altan's drum softly echoed through the silence inside the jur. It was a rhythm not only heard with the ears, but felt with the heart. Each beat like the pulse of the earth itself, slow, steady, ancient. Take a breath and let it go. The fabric of the night was soft as silk. Darkness settled gently over the village, like a shadow folding in on itself. The stars above blinked slowly, as if growing sleepy themselves, and in that quiet hush, even the wind bowed out. And right then, in that delicate space between reality and dream, Batu found himself somewhere else. He stood in a golden meadow. The sun hadn't set, yet its light was dim and warm, a constant twilight, stretching endlessly in every direction. The grass swayed in a rhythm of its own, humming softly like a lullaby. The sky was so close, he felt he could almost reach up and hold the clouds. They floated lazily, like silken scarves drifting on invisible currents. The air smelled of sweet herbs and something older, the scent of memory. A distant neighing broke the silence, followed by the soft thunder of hooves approaching like the wind, not rushed, not hurried, just certain. Batu turned and gasped. A white horse stood before him, but it was no ordinary horse. Its mane shimmered with sky-blue light, its eyes sparkled like twin stars, and on its back, a saddle woven with ancient glowing patterns, as if stitched by the hands of Tengri himself. The horse stood still, silent. It simply gazed at Batu with eyes that seemed to know everything, his fears, his hopes, his dreams. And without a moment's doubt, Batu climbed onto its back. As the horse galloped across the glowing field, the grass beneath its hooves lit up, each step unveiling a new dream. First, they passed rivers, but these rivers carried no water. They flowed with light, white, blue, and violet streams of luminescence, whispering songs on the wind. The melodies wrapped around Batu, like stories told before sleep. Then came the sky horses, wings outstretched, gliding across the heavens. Each one carried the spirit of a nomad long gone, and yet somehow still here. Their eyes glinted with recognition as they soared by. Batu rode among them, not over land, but among stars. He felt weightless, endless. Each breath he took tasted like stardust and memory. Take a deeper breath. Let the wind pass softly over your shoulders. Let your heart beat slow, like the rhythm of a distant drum, or a lullaby hummed long ago. When they gently returned to earth, Batu saw a figure standing in the distance. He slowed his horse, and something stirred in his chest. A soft, familiar melody. He knew that face. His father. The elder walked forward with a smile. In his hand, he held a lock of horsehair. He placed it gently into Batu's palm. "Don't forget to speak to the earth," he said, his voice low and warm. "The land is your past, and the horses are your future." His eyes shimmered, not with tears, but with stars. A tear slid down Batu's cheek, not of sorrow, but peace. Then, through the mist, came a woman. It was the sister of Nergui, the oldest woman in the village, the one who vanished as a child. Yet here she was, not aged, not broken, but whole, timeless. She held a silver bowl, brimming with fresh milk that shimmered like moonlight. "Place this at the ovu," she whispered, "and promise that no child will go hungry." Her voice was barely louder than a breeze, but it echoed in Batu's bones. Batu looked around and saw that he wasn't alone. The villagers had joined him, each on their own dream horse, all riding together toward a horizon where the sky merged with the steppes. The path ahead glowed gently, welcoming them onward, and behind them all stood Altan, his drum in hand, not making a sound, but still it could be heard, not with the ears, but deep within the soul. Its rhythm pulsed through the dreamland like a heartbeat shared among all. Time stood still. The wind took a breath, and the dreams, they bloomed in the trail of the horses. Now, close your eyes. Let this dreamland echo through you, and perhaps one day, you too will ride through the stars on your own horse. But not yet. Not just yet. Because the journey is not over. The dream still lingered. Batu stood quietly by the ovu, the sacred stone mound now wrapped in morning light. The scent of warm milk, smoke, and wildflowers hung in the air, soft as breath on skin. Khökh Lake, still and silver, shimmered in the pale hush of dawn. Its surface looked like polished glass, as though the stars from the night before had gently settled into its depths, to rest, to dream again. Just hours ago, the villagers had wandered side by side through the dreamlands, riding cloud horses across the heavens, speaking with ancestors beneath drifting stardust, drinking from silver bowls brimming with memory and promise. Now, there was only stillness, the kind of stillness that comes after something sacred, something remembered. Altan, the old shaman, stepped forward slowly. His robe swayed with the wind, his footsteps barely making a sound on the dew-kissed grass. In his hand, Tengri's feather, soft, white, endless. He walked to the edge of the lake, his eyes reflecting both the rising sun and the fading stars. He lifted the feather high, as if holding the sky itself. "This," he said, his voice like wind over stone, "is our promise. To remember the spirits, to tend to the earth, to listen when the silence speaks." Then he let go. The feather floated gently, twisting and turning, light as breath, until it disappeared into the waiting water. Behind him, the villagers lowered their heads. Some wept, others smiled through tears. No one spoke, and for a single moment, the earth and sky exhaled together. So now, dear listener, let your body soften. Let the echoes of hoofbeats and the whispers of old winds fade slowly into the quiet. With each breath, sink a little deeper. You are wrapped in the warmth of the steppe, its memory, its song, its silence. The sky above you is calm. The land beneath you remembers, and your spirit is safe. Let go now. Let the story end, and the dream begin. Saihan Amra Rai. Good night.